Looking so fresh. When I walk by, breaking their necks. Waiting in line at the team store. Now I'm feeling fly like a condor. Eyes on me when I walk through the door. Man, I wish I bought a couple more. Cause I really love my city. It was worth every penny. If it were at my show, then I know they gon' tip me. Think I might add a couple patches. If you think it's ugly, you capping. Now my whole outfit matching. Never going out of fashion.
What's up, everybody? Welcome, episode 634 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here. It is September 15th, 2024, and the Padres, they are coming off a sweep of the San Francisco Giants, as now they come back home for, I think, their last homestand of the regular season. They've got the Houston Astros coming up Monday through Wednesday, and then an off day, and then the White Sox. So it's getting there. We're getting close to postseason time, and boy, did the Padres put themselves in an even better position to make the postseason over the weekend in these couple of games, 3 games in San Francisco. We'll go over the standings, but I just want to get through these 3 games. If you want to join the show, click that link that's pinned up at the top of the chat. I appreciate anyone that's taken the time to watch this live on YouTube or watch it on replay or listen on the podcast platforms. Thank you so much. I will obviously go through the chat as well here at a point in time a little bit later. But yeah, that was a fun series, huh? It was, I wasn't watching this game live today. I wasn't able to watch it live, but it was close. You know, looking at the updates, it was pretty close the whole time. And it took a while for any runs to be put on the board. 1-1 through 6. And then in the 8th, the Padres, they get a run, and then in the 10th, they get a couple, which was great because they gave up a run in the 10th to make it 4-3. But then Adrian Morejon ends up getting the job done there to end it. So it was a good ending to this series. You know, what I thought was great was we got a little bit of both, right? We still got, okay, the Padres, they're tested like today. And then the first 2 games of the series, it was complete team wins, and there wasn't a whole lot of stress in those games. But today, just going through the scoring. So top of the 6th, Manny with that sac fly to center made it 1-0. And that was, you know, the Padres being able to capitalize on mistakes from the Giants. There was that the botch ball from the first baseman, the pitcher doesn't end up covering. And, you know, the Padres set up a rally there. I think Arise got a hit before that. That dude, another multiple hit game from him. He's hitting .322 now. So I continue to marvel at, you know, at Luis Arise. Maybe we shouldn't be that surprised because it's Luis Arise and go look at the track record. But even if he continues to do it year in and year out, and let's say he's with the Padres long term, which would be pretty cool, I think I still would be like, oh man, that's pretty darn impressive. I don't know if I would get you know, used to it, to be honest, because of how nasty these pitchers are nowadays. And this guy hasn't struck out since, I think, the middle of last month. That is nuts. There are guys in this league that strike out every day, right? Strike out multiple times in a game. And Arise doesn't do that. And Arise, he expands the zone. He opens himself up to more opportunities to swing and miss because he's swinging at pitches that aren't all strikes. But he's there to make contact, put the ball in play. And sometimes when you put the ball in play, good things are going to happen. And we've seen that. But yeah, top of the 6th there, 1-0. Manny had himself a series. Nando had himself a series. Merrill had a good series. Arise, obviously. Bogey had a homer yesterday. It was a lot of key contributors having themselves pretty darn good series. Bottom of the 6th came, though, and Donovan Walton had a homer to right center, made it 1-1. Top of the 8th, though, comes around, and Fernando pinch hits. He was not starting. It seemed like it was going to be a day off for him. And it probably would have been if it was, you know, a big win for the Padres. But it was obviously a tie game, and Nando steps up there. One pitch is all it took for him to make that big impact, to make it 2-1. That's probably one of his more memorable homers on the season. He's had some pretty memorable ones, but that's got to be there, right? The opportunity to sweep, it's 1-1, come off the bench like that, one pitch, and you homer. Bottom ninth, though, Robert Suarez gives up the homer to Ramos, which ended up being like this big storyline. The first right-handed hitter to hit a ball into the McCovey Cove in a game, which, yeah, it's impressive, but I mean, let's be honest. Who's supplying most of that power? It's Robert Suarez with the velocity, right? But tie game there, 2-2, and then top of the 10th comes around. David Peralta with a single coming through. Again, I just keep going back to props to A.J. Preller because David Peralta is another one. Domin Solano's been big, obviously. He had 3 doubles, I think, last night. But David Peralta is one of those as well where, minor league veteran deals, and they end up being in the big leagues for a good majority of the season and really impacting this Padres team. Let's not forget how good David Peralta was when Fernando was down for weeks and months. David Peralta was hitting like 300. So he comes through again, which just shows like the depth of this team, right? When Nando isn't starting in the lineup, you can have someone like David Peralta in there playing right field. And then the depth, like with catching. I know there's only 2, not 3, because Campy got sent down. But with the catching, you have 2 catchers that Schilt is comfortable going to. So he can pinch hit. Have Tatis pinch hit for Elias Diaz, and you have Higgy as the backup. Or you could do it the other way if you want. And you like a certain matchup with a guy coming off the bench. So, man, and this wasn't offense, but Brandon Lockridge, I thought he made a pretty positive impression. I think that was game 1. First pitch, he steals second base. So, like, being able to be put into, like, a pressure situation. Now, that's not the playoffs. I don't think it was a super close game at that time. But, like, being in a big league game, you're there for a reason, obviously. I think, both teams knew why Lockridge is in there. And he still takes the bat. So that could be a difference come postseason time. And he's obviously fighting for a postseason spot. Not so sure he'll get it, but just it's a lot of guys that can do different things. Joe Musgrove was talking with Dennis Lynn of The Athletic after, I think, yesterday's game about this, about how much fun he's having playing. Like, this is the most fun that he's had. And it's a bunch of guys that are willing to do whatever it takes. I'm not quoting Joe, but like, they're willing to do whatever the game demands of them. They're not trying to be, the superhero all the time. Or they are the hero, but they don't care if they get all the credit. They care about winning baseball games. And that's so refreshing. And if you don't love this team, I mean, what Padres team are you going to love, to be honest? I see a bunch of guys that are trying to go win the World Series, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to do that. That's what I'm seeing. We got David Peralta, top of the 10th with that RBI single, made it 3-2. And then Donovan Solano, the Giants, man, they were giving some runs to the Padres, just giving base runners. And it is so freaking funny seeing this Giants team melt down like this against the Padres with Schilt as the Padres manager and Bob Melvin with the Giants. And just before I was coming on here, the video popped up again of Bob Melvin in his Giants opening press conference saying how he would always, at least once every time he came, he would look over there and at the Giants dugout. Hopefully, maybe one day I'll be the Giants manager. I thought that was a freaking terrible look. That was a really bad look, like, to admit that. I know he was with the Giants when he said it, but again, it just goes back to, like, this team really buying in and wanting to win for, with each other, with this group. And there wasn't enough of that. It didn't seem like last year. And so when your manager is looking at the opposing dugout and saying, hey, maybe one day I can be with that team, that's not a good sign, obviously, right? And we saw the articles, we saw the teams play, obviously. And this year it's just totally different and it is freaking awesome. So I think one of the questions from today, right, with the Padres win was Robert Suarez and the blown saves. It's been a little bit more consistent. He still got the win today, but his 5th blown save of the season. The other relievers that came in after Martin Perez, by the way, good job from him today. 5 innings, 1 earned run, walked just 1 guy. I will take that. Even if he doesn't go 6, this bullpen has depth. You definitely kept your team in the game, did your job, handed off to the bullpen. Estrada, no runs. Tanner Scott, no runs. Jason Adam, no runs. Jason Adam, by the way, I don't know why, but I looked at the depth chart yesterday and he wasn't on the depth chart, which was confusing, but he's still on the roster. And then Robert Suarez comes in and gives up that Oppo home run. And really, again, like that's velocity. I don't know how many ballparks that ball would have been out of, but it doesn't matter. It was out of Oracle Park. And so I guess the question is, should Robert Suarez continue to be the closer? And like, I'm fine. I think I said this before. I think I'm fine with Tanner Scott taking on part of that role. Like maybe Robert Suarez doesn't do it every time out. Maybe it's more of a matchup thing instead of you're the 9th inning guy. If both guys are open to doing that, it seems like they would be because Robert Suarez, from every quote that I've seen, he's not a me guy like someone else. It seems like he has been, no, my job is to pitch. All those 4-out, appearances earlier in the year when he was asked about that, like my job's to pitch. I'm good. Whatever it takes to help the team. And, this Padres team going into the postseason, maybe it's going to have to be a matchup thing. And it will be, leading up to the 9th inning. I think the question is it going to be a matchup thing the entire way, or is it going to be a matchup thing leading up to the 9th inning and Robert Suarez is still going to be that guy? And Robert Suarez, does he deserve to still be one of those high leverage arms? Yeah. But I think what's best for the Padres is for Robert Suarez to maybe for him not to feel like, the closer role is his role. Maybe what's best is for Scott to take that for a day or Adam to take that for a day and Suarez pitch the 8th inning and you have it based on matchups. And maybe it's a wake-up call to Robert Suarez that your position isn't safe. We still value you. We know that you're talented, but you're not just going to be given this closer situation here. You've got to get it together or else you're not going to be the closer in the postseason. Because there are matchups, right? Like, let's say, the postseason comes around and it's the 7th inning and you're lining it up. Tanner Scott's a lefty, Suarez is a righty. There's different pitch mixes for these guys. And let's say you're facing the Phillies and you've got Bryce Harper up, Schwarber. Would you in the 9th inning, let's say, like it's lining up to be that? Would you rather have Tanner Scott face those guys or would you rather have Robert Suarez face those guys? And it's a right on left, right? And we know those guys can hit velocity. Like that's not an issue. So maybe you go with Tanner Scott in that situation. Instead of it being, Robert Suarez as the closer, he's going to be pitching in that situation. I want to win, so I don't care what role Robert Suarez has. I don't care what role Tanner Scott has. I want their role to be who is better to get these guys out, right? It's 27 outs. Find a way to get those 27 outs. That's what it is. And that goes with really everyone on the team. I don't care if someone's starting. If they're the best person to start that game, then great. If they're a name, but it's not going great, and someone else is there in the bullpen that is a better matchup, then let's do that. Let's go win that game. The names and all that should probably go out the window come postseason time. because it's about winning. And if someone's playing better than the next guy, even though the next guy's the bigger name, well, that guy should have been playing better. That's how I view it. I think that's how pretty much I'm not going to tell you guys how to fan, but I think that's how fans should view it. I think that's how Mike Schilt should view it. I know that he's a player's guy, and he's going to say he has confidence in Robert Suarez. But again, do you want to win, or do you want to just go with the roles? Oh, he's comfortable in this role, so we're going to give him this role, right? Like, that's no. I want best matchup. And I'm not accusing Mike Schilt of, by the way, I'm not accusing him and saying that he's not going to do this. I'm just throwing it out there like this is what I would do if I was the manager. He's obviously smarter than I am. There's a reason why he's the manager. I just hope that it's not Robert Suarez being given the ninth inning because he's had the ninth inning pretty much all season. And he's been good most of the season. Well, how are you doing now? Because that's what matters. All right. Game 2, Padres won 8-0. Again, these first two games of this series, they were team wins. Manny with a double in the first off the wall. That ball was crushed. That made it 1-0. Some sloppy defense, obviously, from the Giants. And Bob Melvin in his post game, I think yesterday, was talking about how this is pretty much like instructional league at times. It looks like it's instructional league, not the big leagues, which is funny because the Giants, we know they had a defensive issue last year, terrible. And then you see it pop up again. And you see the Padres. I mean, the Padres, for the most part, have been good defensively. I think early on it wasn't as great as we wanted it to be, but since it's been good. Shout out to Crony, by the way, at second base. Holy cow. He had himself a pretty good series, especially today in the series finale with that ball up the middle and then the diving play he made going towards first. Like, I think I said this when the whole Bogaerts-Kim situation came up, like, move Bogaerts to short maybe, Crony to second. And I was fine with it because, Bogaerts has played the position so long at short, and then Crony, we know what value he can still bring at second base, and he's someone that can show off his range. He can use the range at second base, and you can have Solano or Rise, someone at first base. I wonder how big of a drop-off is it going from from Cronenworth to a Rise or Solano at first, but you get Cronenworth at second base, who I think has better range than Bogey at second base. And you have Bogaerts. Now, it seems like Kim, right? He's the best defensive option at shortstop when he's healthy, but he wasn't doing a ton offensively, right? It was kind of like Camposano, where I thought, okay, going to take another step forward here, and that didn't happen this season. It actually was a step back, in my opinion, for Kim. And so, I want the offense, especially when you have viable options defensively up the middle. And so far, it has worked out. Getting back to yesterday, Bogaerts, 10th homer of the year, made it 2-0. A Rise, RBI single, 3-0. A lot of singles. They were singling them to death there, crushing that Giants team yesterday. Manny with an RBI single up the middle. He went up the middle a lot in this series. Fernando goes the opposite way, made it 6-0. Merrill got in on it, made it 8-0. And Merrill moving up in the order, that was another topic of this series. And a lot of Padres fans were waiting for that. Why is Crony continuing to hit higher than Merrill in the order? Switch those lefties. I get it if it's, the right, left, right thing, but look at the production. Crony's struggling. Merrill, he deserves it. He deserves to be higher in the order. Do it, do it, do it. And Mike Schilt did it. The explanation why they didn't do it was they didn't want to mess with what was working. And that's what I was saying as well. Like, are they winning for the most part? Yes. Okay. Then they didn't want to put too much pressure. I think Kevin Acee wrote about this. They didn't want to put too much pressure on Merrill, just keep him down there. But I was having this conversation, I remember, way earlier in the year when I had Jim Russell on, this was about the leadoff spot, not about hitting, fifth or sixth. But I was like, no, I'm okay. And this was before the Padres got Luis Rise. I was fine with Merrill. Like, I wanted him to lead off. I thought, hey, what I'm seeing from Merrill, he is ready. It doesn't matter where he hits in the lineup. He's not going to change his approach. He wants to win. He's not going to try to be superhero. And Jim was of the mindset like, no, let's keep him down there. Let's not try to put too much pressure on him. He's a rookie. But when I saw Merrill, it didn't take too many games. And then, the post-game quotes, that factored into it a little bit for me as well. He just had the right attitude about it. He has the right mentality. And when you have that, and then you have the skills and, the ball's the opposite way, and then the power, right? Not trying to do too much, not trying to hit the homers, but still showing it, that he has it. Just doing whatever it takes to win. Not being happy even if you have a good personal performance, but the team lost, so why the heck does it matter? That's who he is. So I was fine with him moving up in the order. And so, now him moving up in the order, yeah, I think he deserves it. And it goes back to the point of doing whatever it takes for this team to win. Jake Cronenworth has the big contract. Jackson Merrill's a rookie. So who should be hitting higher if you're just looking at that? And that maybe factored into it a little bit earlier this season when Merrill continued to be down in the order. It was Cronenworth, because Cronenworth was there for years. He was the vet. Merrill's not. But as we're in mid-September here, we got to get a lineup here going. What's the best for the team to win baseball games? What's the best for the offensive production? And when you have a lineup that, let's go to yesterday's lineup because Tatis was in there. You have a Rise, Tatis, Profar, Manny, and then you have Merrill right there, and then Bogarts, Cronenworth. Solano's hitting 8th. That's the depth of this order. Higgy's having a career offensive year. He's hitting 9th. But when you look at this order and you have Merrill hitting behind Tatis, Profar, and Manny, well, Arise too, but Arise, Tatis, Profar, and Manny, that's going to give him more opportunities to drive those guys in. He's probably going to have more opportunities like that than him hitting 7th and hitting behind Croney and Bogarts. While Bogarts has been pretty good, and I still think Croney can come up with a clutch knock in the postseason, similar to Grish in 2022, just the better spot for him, who has earned it, the answer is Jackson Merrill. So thank you, Mike Schilt, for making that move. Sincerely, the Padres fan base. And it's not to bash Croney or be like, I don't believe in Croney. I'm probably like, for those that know me and have listened to the show, they know that I am a Croney defender, and I am probably going to be one of the last people to give up on Croney and be like, yep, he doesn't have it. Because I compare his mentality, at least publicly, to Merrill, to Musgrove. I think they're pretty similar. Where just trying to do whatever it takes. Whatever the game demands of them, that's what they want to do. They want to play every day. They're going to get dirty. They're not trying to be the superhero. Croney got into trouble doing that in the past, but it seems like this year that has changed. But, production is production. And Merrill, again, he has earned it, being higher in the order than Croney at this point in time. Could that change? Yes. But it doesn't seem like it's going to change. It seems like this is what the lineup is going to be the rest of the year, including the postseason, with Merrill being up there. But obviously things could change. Injuries can happen. It's baseball. But yeah, I mean, these starting pitching performances, by the way, these first couple of games, well, actually this entire series, because Perez, 5 innings, 1 earned run. Musgrove, 6 innings, no runs. And then Cease in game 1, he also went 6 innings, no runs. 10 punch outs from him. Just a couple of walks, 4 hits, not a lot of base runners. Cease and Musgrove, I believe it was their slider or sweeper, whatever they call it, they were working in these starts. Holy cow, those were nasty. And then Musgrove's curveball falling off the table. That was working. Even some of the curveballs that he was throwing into the zone. It looked like he was maybe going to be high and then boom, in the zone. That was working as well. So I think Kevin put this in his newsletter this morning about Musgrove. Yeah. So if you take away the 10 pitches from Musgrove's start, his second to last start, that one at home against the Giants where he was getting everything hit, he has a .95 ERA, a 159 opponent's batting average over 38 innings since coming back off the IL on August 12th. Even with that bad stretch there in that inning, he has a 2.37 ERA with a 196 batting average. So even with the blow-up inning, he is pitching really well. And I mean, is there a better time to be pitching like this going into the postseason? No. And it's like, Darvish is building up. This could be a similar thing to Clayton Kershaw in 2020. Guys that have a shortened workload going into the postseason. Kershaw, obviously, he has had a history of not being the same guy in the postseason when they get there. He's usually taxed. He usually has a lot of innings on that arm. He's carrying that rotation. A lot's on him. But in 2020, it was the shortened season, and he didn't have as many innings on his arm, and he was healthy going in. And he actually ended up pitching pretty well in that postseason, right? With Joe, with Darvish, they're going to have a lot of innings saved on their arms. And I hope that that's going to be a really good thing come postseason time. And then with Dylan Cease and Michael King, those guys obviously have more innings on them, but they've had time to get in a groove, know what the heck is working. It's been an up and down season for Dylan Cease. I mean, the ERA has been down, and then it's been bad, and then it's been really good, and then it's been bad. There was the homers. Same thing with Michael King. He had the homers that he was giving up early in the year. But they've been able to have those starts, that time with the Padres in their first year with the Padres to figure out, okay, how do I need to go about things? And so I could spin it positive with like every starter in the rotation with how things are going right now. Yeah, no walks from Joe yesterday. Really good there. Really good job. And then Dylan Cease, just a couple of walks. You want the Padres to do better in game one. They win 5-0, but 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position. You'd like them to be a little bit better on that, but the Giants got 3 opportunities with runner in scoring position. Padres 14. There's a difference there. More opportunities, you're going to keep knocking on the door. You're eventually going to come through. Tatis with that homer, 2-run homer. And who was on in front of him? No shocker, Luis Ariz. That made it 2-0. Xander with the double in the gap made it 3-0. 4-0 on the air. Merrill scored. Logan Webb, the Giants, they were given, like I said earlier, they were giving the Padres runs. Really bad throw by Logan Webb. Just airmailed the first baseman. And then top of the night came around, and Manny added a run, made it 5-0 on the RBI double. Brandon Lockridge scored. Like I said earlier, he stole that base. First pitch that he saw. He was in that Eno De Los Santos deal, I believe right before the deadline with the Yankees. So being able to use him. And remember, Jose Azocar, he's the Jose Azocar now because Azocar, I believe, is with the Mets. He's not with the Padres. So could be a key piece come October. We'll see. Because it's obviously 13 position players, 13 pitchers. You're not going to want to leave Solano and Peralta off the roster. So I would think the Padres go with that, the 4 outfielders. Tyler Wade can play outfield and he can play infield. I think that gives value to the Padres. So we'll see. All right, quick break. And then I did want to get to the division race, Padres Dodgers, because it is in sight right now. Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well. All right, so getting to this division race, I've been very cautious to be like, yeah, okay, the Padres, they're back in this division race. It's there. But it is there. I mean, the Padres sweeping the Giants. Did the Dodgers lose? Or are they still playing? Ah, dang it. They hit 3 home runs in a row tonight against the Braves. Well, I guess good for them. Crap. But 3.5. So it's a 3.5 game difference there in the division. I was hoping it was going to be 2.5, or it would have been 3 actually, after if the Dodgers would have lost today. But it's still progress. I mean, it was 5 games pretty recently. And when it's at 5 games, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm not even thinking about the division. I'm just thinking about the wild card. But now, you have those 3 games against the Dodgers. You have that White Sox series. A lot's still going to have to happen, but it's there. Kevin Acee, and this was entering today, so the numbers have changed, but actually, yeah, the numbers obviously have changed, but I wonder if they've changed just because of the number of games, or is it the same, difference between the amount of wins the Padres have to have and the amount of wins the Dodgers have to have? Because entering today, AC says here, if the Padres finish 10-3, so that's really good, probably sweeping the White Sox. 10-3, the Dodgers must finish 8-6 to win the division. So they have to just play, okay, for, actually not that great for their standards, and they can still win the division. More of a realistic record probably for the Padres. 9-4? If they go 9-4, all the Dodgers have to do is go 7-7, and they still win the West. If the Padres go 8-5, the Dodgers can have a losing record. They can go 6-8. So really, how realistic do we see that being for the Dodgers, them having a losing record the rest of the way? So I feel like the 9-4 that was entering today, I mean, and then the Dodgers still have to go 500. They have to go worse than 500, excuse me, for the Padres to take the division. So again, it's probably not going to happen, but it's still there. Things can happen. They still have those 3 games against the Dodgers. That could obviously go a long way for this whole thing to shake the Padres' way. In fact, I'll look up the Dodgers schedule and just see what matchups they have coming up. Because the Padres, obviously, they have the Astros, they have the White Sox, they have the D-backs, and they have the Dodgers. Oh, that's not great for the Padres. Yeah, that's not great. I wanted to be more encouraged. So they have one more game against the Braves. They've got the Marlins and the Rockies. Other than the Padres, those are the only other opponents the Dodgers face the rest of the way. They've got 6 games against the Rockies. They've got 3 against the Marlins. And sometimes, yeah, those are teams you don't want to play, the teams that are playing with nothing to lose. Or, it's a bunch of guys that are fighting for their jobs, make a good lasting and, last impression going into the offseason. But, yeah, the Padres, they've got the Dodgers, they've got the D-backs who are going to be fighting, obviously, till the very end, I would assume. They've got the Astros. Yeah, that's not great. So, it's there. It can happen, it's closer than what it was, and obviously there's a reason why these games are not played on paper. They're played on the field. But on paper, it seems like the Dodgers would have to have a huge freaking choke job for the Padres to win this division. So my sights are, to be honest, they're still on the first wild card. That's what I'm looking at here the most. and I can give you an update there. Padres 85-65. What was big, really, my big takeaway from this series, standings wise, is that they created a lot of room for error just to make the postseason, but they created room for that first wild card. I mean, I know they've got a few games with the D-backs, but they've got a game and a half on the D-backs for the first wild card. They've got a 3.5 game lead on a playoff spot. So it's similar to the Dodgers, where the Padres would have to play really bad to not make the playoffs. Right now, it's the Padres with the first wild card, the D-backs with the second. They're 2 games clear of a playoff spot. The Braves at 81-68 have the same record as the Mets. So they both share that final wild card spot right now. And that's it. It's 4 teams for 3 spots. It feels like it's going to be an NL West battle for the top wild card spot, and it's going to be an NL East battle of those 2 teams for that final wild card spot. Phillies are winning the East, Dodgers winning the West, and as of now, the Brewers would be still having to play in that wild card series, and they would get the Braves or the Mets. One of those 2. And then it would be the D-backs at the Padres. But obviously the season does not end today. But that's just your wild card update there. All right, before getting to the chat, just want to make sure there's nothing else that I wanted to get to here. I mean, yeah, just big series from Manny. Just continuing to be like the 2022 should have won NL MVP Manny Machado. I'll go to my grave with that. Like, this dude, he's already an MVP winner, in my opinion. Sorry, Goldie. Manny's actually the 2022 MVP. But I know I'm biased. But him performing so well like this, I mean, how many big moments he come up with in the last month? I mean, he had that tremendous defensive series in St. Louis, and he brought it. I believe, right? I know he homered in St. Louis he brought it with the offense. He brought it. I mean, he continues that long throw, by the way, that he made. He made it look so easy I think it was yesterday, where he backs up a little bit on the ball. He's standing on the outfield grass, and he makes that throw from deep third base, just slings it over there to first base as if it's just a normal throw to him. And it kind of is, because it's Manny. But that play, if you go to your local high school or local park that has a field, and go stand in the outfield grass where Manny was, beyond third base, and just look at first base and see how long of a throw that is. And I think you'll be more impressed by that play. Obviously, he's made, plays that look even more ridiculous. He's made those this season. But even that one, I just don't want I don't want fans in general to take for granted how great of a player Manny Machado is. And are we going to get on him? Are Padres fans going to hold him accountable when we feel like he needs to be held accountable? Yeah, I'll do that. But man, I'm so happy that Manny is going to be here for a long time. He is a treat to watch at third base. I think that's all I wanted to say. Big series from Merrill and Bogey, and Arise just continues to rake. I don't want to take him for granted either. But yeah, the Padres, the series couldn't have really gone better other than Suarez today, right? Because it was team win in game 1, team win in game 2, team win still in game 3, because a lot of people had to contribute, but it wasn't as easy, clean as we wanted it here in the series finale. All right. A reminder of some of the other great partners of the show as well. Talked there, mentioned about Gaglio and Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries, main location on Friars Road. But Breaking Tea, they've got Padres and Aztec shirts and sweatshirts. Click that link in the description there. I'm actually wearing my I Love You Breaking Tea Padres shirt. But yeah, click that link in the description there. San Diego State, yeah, not a pretty loss. No loss is pretty, but not a pretty game, I should say. At Cal, Had to stay up late to watch them get crushed against. It was close early on, but no Danny O'Neill. Had a redshirt freshman at quarterback, obviously playing a better team. And yeah, let's just get into, I think, Mountain West play now. Or maybe it's not Mountain West play now. Hang on. I gotta see who they play now. Central Michigan. Oh, I think they have a bye week. So they're 1-2. The two big tests was Oregon State and Cal, and they lost both of those. They got crushed. 21-0 to Oregon State, 31-10 to Cal. They play at Central Michigan on the 28th. So they have this this next weekend off. And so this is their last game before Mountain West play. October 5th versus Hawaii will be that first Mountain West game. But yeah, not pretty there. But the Wave won. That was great to see Landon Donovan get his first win, his first regular season win with the Wave. Underdog, by the way, 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Click that link in the description there. They've got a bunch of special picks, obviously, going on with the NFL season. Don't come to me for NFL stuff. I'm not paying attention, but you can use that if you're a big NFL fan. There's a bunch of picks, a bunch of pick'ems, I should say, specials that will get you pretty much a free win. You obviously have to pick more than that for the pick'ems, but Underdog is great, helping you get free money essentially there. SeatGeek, code Talking Friars, $20 off your first order. Click that link in the description. All that stuff is in the description, for future episodes, all that stuff for today and future. All that stuff, all the links are in the description. Carter says, Ben, what a serious man. Tatis is on a roll. Also, my Merrill shirt came in and I wore it yesterday. Yeah, I have that Merrill shirt too. It's a cool one. I think I've worn that the last couple of times I've gone to Petco. Devin says, I am worried about Suarez, though. Obviously, he's fatigued, but I don't feel confident with him being the closer right now. I think that they should rotate between Adam and Scott. Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm good with Suarez being tested a little bit. Suarez not being given that closer role. Go back and earn it. And have it be on matchups. Kind of get into that postseason structure or lack of structure, because really, when the postseason comes around, you're just trying to find a way to get 27 outs. It's not about people's feelings anymore. It's about getting 27 outs. Did I not put the link in here? I'm seeing that in the chat. My apologies. I just put it in. So scroll down to the bottom and you'll see it. My bad. I usually do that. Brain fart. It's been a long week. Oh, good for you, Kenneth. Going to be at Petco the next 3 games. I saw a pretty good group of Padres fans pretty much every game there in San Francisco. Do I think Kim is gone after this year? That's tough, because I need to know what his market is. Like, is there a team out there that's willing to give him $30 million or $50 million? Or is it really going to be more like a 1-year deal type thing or 2-year deal? That's what I wonder. I mean, because the Padres, they could just have Bogarts be at shortstop and have Cronenworth be at second base, and they bring back Solano, or that they sign someone else. They could do that. To be honest, though, I'm having a hard time thinking even about the offseason when it's not 2023. I'm very confident we're going to the postseason, so I don't even want to think about that right now. I just want to enjoy this moment. I want to enjoy the rest of this season with this team. Jeffrey says Mike Shildt is a far superior manager than Bob Melvin. Shildt makes things happen by putting on plays, while Melvin sits on his hands doing nothing and waiting for home runs. I think that's a little aggressive. I think Mike Shildt has a really good team to do certain things, and he has a bought-in team. Where Bob Melvin, I'm not watching every Giants game, but it seems like fundamentally there's some things that are off there. And yeah, I think Mike Shildt, yes, he is making more things happen than what Bob Melvin did last year. But last year, the Padres didn't have the same roster construction that they had this year. It didn't seem like they had the fundamental guys. The guys didn't have Jackson Merrill up yet last year, There were certain guys, you talk about putting on plays. Let's say bunts, right? Profar with the bunts. They didn't have Profar last year for most of last season, right? And didn't have Shildt as the manager in spring training talking all year from then about fundamentals and doing the little things, giving them nothing and taking everything. Didn't have that voice, who really believes in that, having Jackson Merrill, that's a big effect. It is. So it's a different roster construction than last year. Matt Carpenter and Nelson Cruz, were they going to be bunting all the time? Right? You're going to send Juan Soto up there to bunt? It's just a little bit different. I'm not trying to say I'm obviously not the biggest Bob Melvin fan, but I think I do need to defend him that way a little bit, if that makes sense. David says, I want Scott to close instead of Robert as of right now. Give him a rest as the closer or play matchups. And David, by the way, joins the show right now. So great timing. What's up, David? How's it going?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing good. So Suarez, I mean, I have that same thought about the matchups. Definitely come postseason time. Especially if Suarez is still pitching like this. It's not about, hey, you're the ninth inning guy, this is your role. For me, it's about what does the situation call for? What does the game demand? If you're going to, and I'm talking about Mike Shildt when I say if you're going to manage the game, other parts of the game, let's pinch hit this guy for this guy because of the situation, because of the reliever that's in, then do that for the back of the bullpen as well. Get 27 outs. That's what matters.
Yeah, because first I just want to say it's nice to be back on. I haven't been on in a while.
Yeah.
I missed how fun this is, but Robert Suarez, I don't know what the issue is. I mean, I don't think it's really an issue. I think he's just kind of in a pitching slump right now where, you're getting beat. It happens. But here's a good thing about having, Tanner Scott and Jason Adam is that we have other guys that can close the game out if you need a break.
Yeah.
Because we have the lefty Tanner Scott. If you have the switch hitter or lefty and you're playing matchups, Tanner Scott can pitch. You got Jason Adam. You also have Morejon and Estrada that can pitch. So Suarez doesn't have to go every time to close. If we don't use the rest of them, then they can also pitch.
Yeah, and also while you were talking there, I did remember that he hasn't been used very often the last week. I don't think he's actually gotten rest. So I think maybe it's also the Padres got to find the middle ground of don't throw him 4 times in 5 days, but don't throw him once in 6 days or whatever. Maybe it's once in 5. I forget. But don't throw him like that either. Make it an every other day thing. Have him try to find that, get that back going into the postseason. Because I'm not giving up on Robert Suarez. It's just what matters the most come postseason time is the results.
Yeah. I mean, it also helps, though, that the Padres are pretty much crushing every team they face. And I hope I didn't just jinx us for the Houston series now. But that should be a pretty fun series to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I I was just looking to see if you said any, because yeah, apologies about the link. For some reason, I didn't put it up, but I was just seeing if there was any other comments that you had here before I let you go. Let's see. Oh, you said Robert Suarez needs an off-speed pitch. A slider would pair well because he threw 100 with a sinker and a changeup. He has that changeup. He has that fastball, obviously. Um, it seems like to me he is a two-pitch guy, and that's just for the most part two-pitch guy. And when he commands the fastball, we don't have an issue. But it's when that pitch gets left over the middle of the plate is when the issue is. I was watching the condensed game before I got on, and the homer that he gave up today, I believe, was a fastball just out over the middle of the plate. And so that's really what the issue is. Because I'm seeing the velocity is there. It's just where the pitch ends up, right?
I think I'm having some issues with my phone right now. I can't hear you.
Okay. All right. I'll remove you then, and then you can try to come back on. All right. I'll continue to go through the chat while we try to figure that out. Cries easily is the username. Says, remember the JK bro's insane at defense. How could you ever count my boy out? Dude, at second base, I love watching him at second base. And I'm fine with him for the most part at first base. He brings value defensively. It's like Ha-Seong Kim. If Kim was healthy, Kim probably would still be in the order. He would just be down in the order. And that's what it has become with Crony right now. He's not going to be removed from the starting lineup because there's still value with Crony. And the way that the offense, Donovan Solano, again, he's batting 8. So there's other guys in this lineup that can come through if Jake's not having a good week. So, yeah. I know I'm biased, but I'm not going to be hating on Jake. I'll tell you the way it is. Like I said earlier in the show, he didn't deserve to be where he was at in the lineup, especially over Jackson Merrill. But he still deserves to be in the lineup every day. Yeah, this was a blow to the Dodgers. I did see this. Glasnow, I think, sprained elbow. Let me confirm that because I don't want to get that wrong. Oh, cleans out Locker, leaves the Dodgers after suffering an elbow injury. Okay. Glasnow suffered a sprained right elbow and is likely to miss the rest of the season. He had been out since August 11th with elbow tendonitis, but suffered a setback while warming up for a simulated game. Sprained elbow, almost certain to be shut down for the year. Bill Plunkett tweeted, after avoiding the media for 2 days, Tyler Glasnow is apparently no longer with the team in Atlanta. Locker has been cleared out, nameplate taken down. Dave Roberts said Glasnow flew out today. I don't know where he flew to, but he's not with the team. What? Okay. So that's the situation going on with the Dodgers right now. That's pretty funny. Not the injury, obviously, but that the manager doesn't know where one of his players went. Okay. But that happens. I thought Joe had a heck of a quote about injuries and how, hey, injuries happen. That's just part of the game. Padres have dealt with a lot of injuries to key guys this season, and we've been able to stay afloat. And the Dodgers still have too. I mean, they're winning the division. But I thought that was a good quote from Joe. Just kind of pumping up the Padres. That no, we're here. Musgrove, he's been out. Darvish has been out. Tatis has been out. Kim, did I say Bogarts? Manny sprained elbow, or elbow, recovering from the elbow surgery, excuse me. Profar, let's remember he's dealing with that knee. Arise, I think, doesn't he have a fractured finger? He has one of his fingers is hurt. and he's still playing through that. So, yeah, there's been a lot of injuries still for the Padres. And some guys, key guys, have been out for months, and the Padres are where they're at. Another signal that this team's for real. This is a different team. They're here, and it's going to be a fun, hopefully, end to this season here. Yeah, Padres Astros is coming up next. Let's see if the matchups are out. Arrighetti against Darvish tomorrow, 6:40. On Tuesday, Hunter Brown against Michael King. And then Wednesday, I believe, is the Tatis bobblehead. Framber Valdez against Dylan Cease. So some interesting matchups. The Astros, 81-68 is what they are going into this series. You know, going back to that whole division thing with the Dodgers, I'm still thinking more about the wild card, especially after looking at the Dodgers schedule with the Rockies and the Marlins. But hey, crazy things have happened before. Just going through the chat here before getting out of here. Someone seriously is saying that Suarez should be demoted. Oh, like demoted in his role or demoted to the minor leagues? Because to the minor leagues is insane. Demoted from his role. Okay, yeah. I've already given my thoughts on that. Let's see. Tyler says Padres 9-1 in extra inning games this season. Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And it was Bob Melvin on the other side losing an extra inning game today. It's funny. It's funny watching that. It was funny watching this series. All right, that's going to do it. Talking Friars episode 634. Thank you, everyone, for the time. I appreciate it. Hopefully, you have a great night. Have a great week. And I'll be back at the end of this Padres Astros series. Although that's probably going to be a really late night show. It'll probably be recorded. It probably won't be a live stream after this Padres Astros series. But yeah, obviously, post game reactions if I'm watching that game. And it should be a fun ride here the rest of the way. A very successful weekend for the Padres. They did all they could do, right? Won all 3 games. Got a more comfortable lead there in that wild card race. And the division, it's there. There's a stronger chance than what it was before this series. That last week, oh man, get your popcorn.